This is the San Francisco 49ers Report. My name is Chase Sr., and no matter where you are or how you're tuned in, thank you so much for making today's show a part of your day. Coming up here on the program, the truth about Niners head coach Kyle Shanahan and quarterback Brock Purdy going into the 2025 season. And with that, this is today's poll question. It has to do with the topic at hand. Where do Purdy and Shanahan rank among the head coach and quarterback duos in the NFL? Let me ask you that again. Where do Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan rank among the head coach quarterback duos in the National Football League? There are 32 teams in the NFL, so rank where they are in your eyes from 1 to 32, and let me know down in the comment section right now. As for Kyle Shanahan, let's start there. He's the head coach. He's calling the shots. He is one of the elite coaches in the NFL. I understand that he has a lot of detractors within this fan base, and if you were calling the shots, some of you fans out there, you would have had him fired a few years ago. But here's the thing about Shanahan. We're going to be honest on today's show. We're going to be critical, and we're going to pass along facts. Does he have some shortfalls? No doubt about it. But he's also one of the best coaches in the NFL. And going into the 2025 campaign, here are my top 10 coaches in the NFL. And Shanahan is a bona fide top 5 coach. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Andy Reid is number 1. The Kansas City Chiefs have been so elite for such a long time. He has 3 Super Bowl championships. And the run of AFC dominance speaks for itself. Andy Reid has been getting it done as a head coach since 1999. He was elite with the Philadelphia Eagles. He's been elite with the Kansas City Chiefs. He is the easy choice as the top coach in the NFL. For me, at number 2 is Sean McVay. He has a Super Bowl championship, and his consistency really stands out to me. Since becoming the Rams coach in 2017, Sean McVay has had a winning season every year except for one. The lone losing season came in 2022 when the Rams went 5-12. Also within that stretch, he has double-digit win seasons in 2017, 2018, 2020, 2021, 2023, 2024. And he's an offensive mastermind. I know a lot of Niner fans are not going to like this. I have Nick Sirianni as my 3rd best head coach in the NFL. He's been to 2 Super Bowls in 3 years. His Philadelphia Eagles team absolutely annihilated Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and Steve Spagnuolo. That game was not close. Nick Sirianni and his coaching staff thoroughly outcoached Kansas City in that game. He has led the Eagles to 2 14-win seasons in 3 years. The Eagles have been to the playoffs every year since Sirianni took over in 2021, and they've won double-digit games in 3 straight years. He has established a culture. Players have gotten better under his watch. He's brought in a lot of elite coordinators, and he won the Super Bowl last year. That is something that Kyle Shanahan has not been able to do. And I'll explain why Shanahan is a top 5 coach coming up throughout this show. Kevin O'Connell is in there at number 5. The work that he's done with quarterbacks like Kirk Cousins and last year Sam Darnold, very impressive. His offenses are some of the more high-octane units in the NFL. He needs to find playoff success, but for me, he's one of the top coaches in the game. John Harbaugh at number 6. Ravens are always competitive. They're never big spenders in free agency. Sean Payton is one of the best offensive minds of the century. Jim Harbaugh, his teams year in, year out are so competitive, and they always win right from the jump. Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season. He's low on this list for me because he hasn't won a playoff game since 2016. That's a red flag. And then rounding out that list is Dan Campbell of the Detroit Lions. He has completely rebuilt that team. He has established a great winning culture with Detroit. How does he fare without his coordinators from the last couple of years? In Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, that's a big question going into this year. Back to Shanahan. Can he be better with game management? There is no doubt about it. Sometimes that is a big shortfall of his. Can he be better coaching? And his teams, can they be better at coming back from behind? Yeah, I think so. when the Niners are able to take leads early, they can dictate the pace, the flow, and the complexion of the game. And once that snowball gets rolling downhill, it's an avalanche that few teams can stop. But once the Niners are thrown off direction and off course and they have to come back from behind, the offense, a little bit predictable, a little bit clunky. Has Kyle Shanahan blown big leads in big games? Yeah, you think back to the 2021 NFC Championship game against the Rams. You think back to the 2019 Super Bowl. You think about the 2023 Super Bowl. He was the coordinator for the Falcons in that Super Bowl loss 28-3 against the New England Patriots. He wasn't the head coach. I think it's kind of odd how people rip a coordinator for losing that game. But his play calling, I guess, had something to do, obviously, with the Patriots being able to come back. Could Kyle Shanahan do a better job of having a feel for the game and keeping tabs on what's going on instead of being on the sideline with his face buried into his tablet, just looking at the play sheet all the time? I think that's why it's important that the Niners brought back Robert Saleh to bring that fire, that accountability back to that coaching staff on the sideline. Player evaluations for Kyle Shanahan, sometimes great, sometimes lacking, especially at the quarterback position in the NFL draft. I'd also like to see Kyle Shanahan give his quarterback and offensive line more autonomy, more leeway for making changes and adjustments and changing his philosophy. I think that's something that Kyle Shanahan can get better at. I never called him perfect. Changing the protections and the lack of doing that along the offensive line, it hurts the Niners because then teams are able to predict and easily can tell what the Niners are going to do on some of the most critical plays of the game. But with play designs, Kyle Shanahan is a top-notch coach in the NFL. He has coached so many highly productive offenses. You can check that box off as well. He has maximized his quarterbacks. The fact that he made Nick Mullins and C.J. Beathard solid and Jimmy Garoppolo a very good quarterback, that's a hell of a coaching job right there. And he's turned Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy, into a top 10 quarterback in the National Football League. He has also coached offenses and helped develop players to the point where those individual players have produced some of the most productive seasons of their respective careers. He's made a lot of players money because they've been able to become some of the best players at their respective positions in the National Football League. Kyle Shanahan's run scheme has been one of the best among all offensive coaches in the NFL. And there's a reason why his Shanahan offense is all over the National Football League as well, because people understand it's an offense that works and it's a copycat league, and they adopt a lot of his offensive ideologies. He also coaches offenses that oftentimes produce explosive plays. They've been some of the highest graded, highest ranking offenses as far as total offense in the NFL. And his teams are always just insanely productive at picking up yards after the catch. And you know what's really hard to do? To have the level of success that Kyle Shanahan has been able to have. I mean, over the last 6 years, the Niners have made it to 4 NFC Championship games and 2 Super Bowls in 6 years. No other team can really compare to that outside of the Kansas City Chiefs as far as conference dominance and Super Bowl appearances. Now, you could throw the Philadelphia Eagles in there, but the sample size over 6 years is not the same. And if Kyle Shanahan does end up winning a Super Bowl and hoists a Lombardi trophy, factoring in what he's been able to accomplish and the consistency to his craft, he becomes an instant Hall of Famer, because you can't write the history of the NFL without including Mike Shanahan and Kyle Shanahan. Kyle's fingerprints are all over offensive football in today's era. And what Shanahan gives his team and gives the fan base, something to root for. He gives his teams a chance week in and week out solely because he's the play caller and he's the head coach. He is smart. He is innovative. Could he adapt and evolve a little bit more? Yeah, he could. Andy Reid did that over time. Not as much with the Philadelphia Eagles, but then he went to the Chiefs. Yes, he linked up with Patrick Mahomes, but he changed some of his philosophies. Kyle Shanahan can do that. Sometimes that comes with age. I never said again that Kyle Shanahan is perfect, but what I am telling you, I'm giving you the truth that Kyle Shanahan is one of the top head coaches in the National Football League. Quick reminder, sorry to interrupt this video, but be sure to hit that subscribe button here for daily shows on the Niners. And we try to be as informative, entertaining, insightful, thought-provoking as possible every time we do a Niners show. And we always want you to be involved. So lock us in, hit that sub button right now. Thanks to our friends at Fanatics. These Faithful to the Bay Niners shirts are on sale right now for just $18. All you have to do is plug in that link down below, chatsports.com/faithful. That'll take you to the promised land. You can save money, you can look fresh, and rep the Niners with these shirts. We'll put that link down below in the show notes and attached to the pinned comment of today's San Francisco 49ers report. So we talk Shanahan. Let's talk Brock Purdy. Since becoming the Niners starter in 2022, statistically, he's been a top 10 quarterback since he came into the league as Mr. Irrelevant. And he is truly elite when it comes to efficiency, processing, throwing with touch, accuracy, and anticipation, being able to read and react to what the defense is doing. And he has been an awesome quarterback for Shanahan's system, playing point guard, distributing the ball, getting the rock out on time, running this offense. Brock Purdy is also a very underrated athlete who's been a very dynamic and explosive runner, whether he's picking up yards with his legs or extending plays with his feet to make throws downfield. Did Brock Purdy struggle in 2024? No doubt about it. He's partially to blame for that. I thought late in games he tried to play too much hero ball, but the Niners were the number 2 most injured offense in the NFL. Kyle Shanahan didn't help him that much either, as I thought Shanahan had a very down year coaching in 2024. And when you suffer a bunch of injuries on offense, you think about football, it relies so much on timing, reps, synchronization, synergy, camaraderie, continuity. The Niners had none of that in 2024. But despite struggling in 2024, how about these numbers that Brock Purdy put up among all quarterbacks? Number 2 in explosive rating, number 2 in passer rating against zone, number 3 in yards per attempt, number 3 in pressured completion percentage, number 4 in success rate, number 5 in EPA per attempt, number 6 in QBR, number 8 in deep ball completion percentage. There's also another truth to Shanahan and Purdy. They can both be better in trying to find solutions in beating man defense. They have both struggled in those categories. You know where Purdy hasn't struggled? Passer rating. Here are the passer rating leaders in the NFL since 2022. Again, that was the year that Purdy stepped in for an injured Garoppolo, who stepped in for an injured Trey Lance. Lamar Jackson, number 1 at 106.1. Brock Purdy, number 2 at 104.9. Jared Goff at 102.3. Guess where Brock Purdy's contract puts him? Right in that category with Goff and Lamar Jackson. Although Lamar Jackson, when it's time for that new deal, he's going to make $60 to $70 million per season. What makes Purdy elite furthermore? Timing, accuracy, anticipation, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, being able to process the defense, the ideal quarterback for Kyle Shanahan's system, mobility, making plays out of structure. Also, as a quarterback, you need to have intangibles. You need to have leadership qualities. And if you're an organization making an investment into a quarterback who's going to be the face of your franchise, you want that player to be low maintenance. You don't want that player causing drama. You don't want that player like Shadur Sanders going 101 on the highway. You don't want to deal with the extracurricular stuff. With Purdy, you know he's a safe bet. Now, of course, Purdy does struggle. Like Kyle Shanahan, he's not perfect either. Being undersized can hurt Purdy with his inability to see the field. His lack of arm strength can get him into trouble. It's also partially why he throws so many practice interceptions, because he tries to test out what he's capable of doing in a game. in 2024 try to play too much hero ball. As I noted, he struggles against man defense, and another Kyle Shanahan, Brock Purdy coming back from behind. That right there, the truth on Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy going into 2025. So we circle back to this question. You may have changed your answer after today's show, and it might be higher or lower, but either way, where do Purdy and Shanahan rank among the head coach quarterback duos in the National Football League?